Hey, welcome back to another video. My name is Kara Michelle and I'm here to help you live your truth. So today's video is a little bit personal, but I want to share about how we are all worthy, but how every single experience all the way up from conception to where we are now is something that can really limit us and shape our belief systems and our feelings of unworthiness. And I'm going to be diving into a really powerful experience I had with hypnosis and meditation half a year ago maybe, that really changed my perspective on everything and totally blew my mind and uncovered a lot. And I want to share it because I know it's going to change your perspective and blow your mind as well. So let's get into it. So earlier this year, I came across this meditation, a hypnosis all about worthiness and uncovering the root causes of this. And if this camera shakes a little bit, I apologize. Okay, doing this hypnosis, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I just knew that I needed to uncover some things. I'd been doing my own inner work for years at this point, and had released a ton of things, but I came across this. I really felt called to it. I gave it a try and I'm so glad that I did. And it was actually through Mindvalley and through Marisa Peer, and I'll mention them in the description below as well. But this hypnosis was very powerful because as I began, let me start by saying that we hold on to everything. Our subconscious mind rules 95% of our mind, right, in our life, and only the conscious is aware of 5% or in control of 5%. So all of our habits, our beliefs, 95% of those are things we don't really consciously control. We're not super aware of. They're just subconscious habits and patterns, and it just like fires, and that's what we do. That's how we think, and that keeps a lot of people stuck. And when it comes to making drastic changes or breaking out of struggle or negativity, it's crucial to uncover these things and work on the subconscious mind, because that's where you can release these big blocks so that you actually feel freedom and you can actually see it show up. So anyway, doing this hypnosis, we started going through back through our childhood and coming up with feeling into anything that came up around times where we felt we weren't good enough, or where people were upset with us, or made us feel lesser than. And it was really, really interesting because as I was doing this, there were a few moments that came up, not necessarily a ton from childhood, but there was one moment, because I have always idolized my brother, and even as a little kid, all the stories my parents tell are always about me defending him, just idolizing him, even if he did things that were bad or if he was mean to me, I would defend him, and I just loved him so much. And there was this memory that came up around a time where he was kind of picking on me, and brother sister stuff, but how I took it so heavy and so much to heart around not being good enough for him, and not pleasing, not being good enough. And because he was the most important person to me, this memory brought up a lot of emotions, a lot of feeling, and really made me realize, wow, okay, that's a huge part of where some of this stems from, where I didn't feel good enough, because he was just being a kid. He was just kind of doing what he was doing, but I attached to it so much and created this major subconscious belief around it. That obviously as a child I wasn't aware of either, how it was going to affect me or how I was going to carry it. So that was really powerful. But even more powerful than that was the next level, which again just totally blew my mind. Was all of a sudden I saw myself as an unborn baby. I was inside my mother's womb. Like, there was this feeling of like the warmth, the comfort, the security, like being in this really safe space. And I felt myself in there, but then all of a sudden the emotion came, and it was this energy because my mom was so upset with my dad because he was too busy with work and he wasn't there to help her with Derek, my brother, who was like 2.5 at the time, and with me, the unborn baby, and my mom was like super close to giving birth, and there was this really strong negative energy and resentment and anger towards my dad for not being there, for not prioritizing family and not prioritizing us. And I realized in this moment that before I was even born, I had these feelings that I wasn't good enough and that I was second. And it's interesting because I've always struggled with some daddy issues, and I talk about this on other videos and with a lot of my female clients, because a lot of women, we have these daddy issues because of what we need and what we receive and how they maybe don't match up. But I always felt like I wasn't good enough for my dad, and that he always was picking me second because of his work and his relationship to work, because then like he wasn't able to make as much time for my brother and I to come to our events, to know what was going on in our lives. Then my parents got separated and he started dating this other woman and like chose her and her family over me and my brother, and just like all of these things that added to it. And this isn't to try and be a video about my dad, because I love him and I know he was never doing it personally, but at the time there was a lot of struggle because of these things. And by realizing this and having this experience in the hypnosis of seeing how it actually stemmed from before birth, and seeing that there was this strong belief and energetic connection that was made before I was born around being second and not being good enough and not being worthy because my dad was busy with work. And again, this isn't to blame him, because he was doing what he thought was best and he was providing, and he always provided for us. And I'm grateful for that. But it's so powerful and interesting to realize the connection that is made energetically and subconsciously to different events. And we never know how our subconscious is perceiving things. And I guess that's the point of this whole video, is we never know how it's perceiving things and what it's holding on to and what story it's continuing to create. So I have another video about toxic patterns. I'd highly recommend checking that out if you feel like you're stuck in negative and toxic patterns. But it's really when you start to become aware of, okay, what am I feeling? Where does it stem from? And looking at the story behind it, and is the story actually true? And for me, the story was like, oh, I'm not loved, or I'm not worthy, or I'm second. But like, is that story actually true? Not really, not at all. That's just the perception that I took on and that my being took on. Maybe it was a lesson that I was meant to learn while I was here on earth. And so I had to start off that way with that belief so that I could overcome it. Who knows? But is that story really true? When you start to ask that, you can really see the world in a new way and shift out of that place. And so I would definitely recommend spending some time sitting on this, journaling on this, reflecting on this in your own life, and seeing what comes up for you. And definitely realizing that whatever story your subconscious mind is telling you, you have the power to choose differently now, and you have the power to see it in a new way, to let go, to work, to do the work, do the heavy work of meditation, of mindfulness, of different subconscious reprogramming techniques. All of these things are going to help you to see things differently, to release that heavy weight that you are carrying that you don't even realize. And I just have to say, when I did that hypnosis that morning and realized this and went back into the womb and felt this energy and everything, like, I had no resentment, no anger, no hurt towards my parents, either of them. I just had this huge release and feeling of like, wow, this is where it came from. And this is what I've been holding on to, and now I can let it go. And now I can move forward, and now I can believe, like, I've always been worthy. It was just this story that I had created subconsciously without even realizing it. So doing the work is where you find the answers. If you're stuck in patterns, you need to do the work. And if you have these limiting beliefs or feelings of unworthiness or self-doubt or insecurity that are really heavy, it's because you're holding things that you don't need to hold anymore, and you need to dive into that and do that work to shift out of it. And I hate to say, like, you need to do this, but I mean, if you want to find freedom, this is the work, and this is the inner healing and the growth. And there's so many different tools and methods to get there. And I do share quite a few within my own Inner Presence Method program and in my coaching. But if you want to just dive into this a little bit more, understand more about your mindset and how it works and how the subconscious can be reprogrammed, I have a free training. It's put down below in the description box, all about breaking free from limiting beliefs, anxiety, and past struggles so you can live out your dreams. And it's by reprogramming your mind, releasing those deeply rooted beliefs and pattern programs in your mind. That's how you do it. So you can check that free training, and let me know in the comments if you've ever had any kind of experience like this with meditation or hypnosis as well, what your thoughts are. And if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to put out a video each day, so I'd love to have you here watching them, and I will see you on the next video.